And hello everyone. We are now we had like a halftime analysis on Twitter. I'll try to put the link on the first comment if everybody wants to know. We are still with the game Manchester City against Tottenham. There is a lot of things that had nothing to do with football that happened. So I have Rupesh Pupet. Okay, so I will also put his Twitter on. So if anybody wants to follow him, or please follow him, that I want to say. Okay, let's start. Okay, where do you want to start? Aguero, or do you want to start with the with the
The disallowed goal.
with a disallowed goal?
Yeah, I think let's start with the disallowed goal. I mean, first of all, I think the emotions that the City players must be feeling are just so frustrated and disappointed because after obviously thinking they won it in the last couple of minutes, suddenly they think they find out that that the goal's been disallowed. And what I found really funny was watching the replay back is the reaction of Hugo Lloris, where he just like talking to the referee, and the referee's like, "Yeah, I'm just checking," and he points to the ground as if to say it's a free kick, and Lloris is like, "Oh, it's a free kick to us." And he just turns away and starts laughing at Ericsson. So I think even the players on the pitch themselves couldn't believe that it was disallowed. So yeah, very controversial. I mean, from the replays, it looks like it was a penalty. I mean, what do you think?
It's
Sorry, it was a disallowed goal.
Yeah, okay. This is the new change of the rule. If the ball touched the hand of the forward player, it is a penalty. Did he mean it? Didn't he mean it? Was it in the right body shape, wrong body shape? If the ball touched the hand of the forward player, it is just handball, and the goal was disallowed because it is handball. It's a stupid rule, but this is take us to the next part, which is the VAR. Is the problem is the rule or the VAR?
Yeah, I think it's not necessarily the rule because I think the rule seems now more clearer than it has done before. If it touches your arm, you're inside the box, you're an offensive player, and it leads to a chance, then it's disallowed. I can understand that, but what happens with the VAR is that obviously after you score a goal and players go away and celebrate, they think that they've maybe won the game or got back in the game. Is then the sudden change of emotions which happen, thinking in realizing that the goal's been disallowed, and then you can see the emotional reaction of the players.
Yeah, but I like it also. I like it. I like this change. It's drama. Come on.
Yeah, it's drama, but the reaction of the players afterwards. I mean, like they were just you could see the frustration. They like Jesus almost ended up having a fight with Sanchez just because he was so pissed off with what had happened. And but this change of emotion, and obviously it happened in the City Tottenham game last season as well in the Champions League. So the City players must be feeling so frustrated. But on the other hand, if you look at the reaction of like Kane, he was like on the floor after the goal, like was devastated. And then suddenly the goal's been disallowed, and they've picked up a point,
Yeah.
which perhaps they deserve in the end as well, because they hung in there for a long time. Lloris made so many saves and kept him in the game, and they sort of rode the storm and ended up getting a point.
Yeah, but do you at the end of the day as a coach, do you like the VAR or you don't like the VAR?
Yeah, I like the fact that it makes the game fair, and you don't get silly decisions that you would have got in the past, which were maybe like very clear, and that the referees missed. And yeah.
So does it make the game fair game? Because I don't see that. I think like if there is something as humans we take from the VAR is that there is no absolute truth in this planet. Just to be like more
Yeah,
into philosophy.
Yeah, yeah. No, I understand what you're saying, but like I mean that the in the end it's fair because the right decision, I think can be achieved with VAR, because it gives a tool for at least referees to in the end come up with the right decision, even if initially they didn't. So what may have been an unfair decision before it was looked at by a VAR because of the fact that it happened at speed, and or maybe the referee didn't quite see it, can be reviewed in a way that the decision can then be fair in the end.
Yeah,
The
but
right
I
decision
don't
comes
see
out.
I don't see the decision is fair. I see the decision is having the point of view of the referee, but he has the time to decide if this is my or not the referee of the refereeing team, because now we have someone in the VAR who nobody knows who he is.
Yeah.
So it have the decision of the refereeing team, their perspective, their point of view is achieved, and they have time to make it happen. And yeah, I mean, like as a coach, I was very frustrated so many times. The referees were like under pressure of the fans or under pressure of the players, and they take wrong decisions. Now we can review this decision. We can give him time, or someone else who is not on the field, who don't have this pressure, is now taking a decision, which is make it more. How is it subjective or objective? Objective, yeah. Make it more objective.
Yeah. That's a fair point. I think in the end, it gives the refereeing team the time and the perspective, the tools to be able to, in the end, make the right decision. Even if initially it wasn't possible to make it in real time.
I'll just add, just between quotes, what they think is the right decision. So it will help them to make what they think is the right decision.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe it's sometimes difficult even to make what might be the right decision, but it gives them a chance to make what they believe is in the end the right decision. Well put. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about Aguero. For those who didn't see it, Aguero went out of the field, and he have like small fight with Guardiola. Just talking like, yeah, why you took me off or something like this. And then after the goal, they hugged each other like very passionately, and then the goal is not there anymore. And yeah, like a lot of drama. Okay, so why do you think is Aguero has been taken out?
Yeah, I think it goes back a little bit to last week and the fact that Aguero didn't start the first game of the season. He was probably quite frustrated at that point that his was played and also scored in that game. And then, he started this game. I thought we did really well in the first half. Had some good chances that he could have scored from, and was working hard in his pressing as well. But you know what Guardiola's like. I think he felt that the game was becoming tougher in the sense that Tottenham were, got a goal, got back into the game, and he needed his players to keep working. And sometimes Aguero doesn't press as well as he could, and Aguero's.
Yeah, I think this is the point.
Yeah.
Like you will explain to us how Tottenham were playing to get out of the pressing, and he needed like his centre forward to work harder, and Aguero basically didn't do it enough on this, and he wanted to bring someone who will help him to do enough. So they want to go with the tactical board, and let's see how City were pressing. First of all,
Can you see it?
yeah, it's clear. Can you tell us which team is which color and so on?
Yeah. So Tottenham are red and City are yellow. And you can see at the moment the ball is with Alderweireld. So when the ball was, let's say, in this position, what was normally happening is it was Aguero who was going to press him, and then you had De Bruyne, who was this one, who defensively was like the second striker, was coming and taking the defensive midfielder, which was normally Harry Winks. And then you had Sterling, who was responsible for pressing Kyle Walker, who wasn't very high, which meant it made it a little bit easier to press him. And then
you mean Walker Peters?
Walker Peters, yeah, which made it easier for Sterling to press Walker Peters. And then here you normally had, let's say, if it was Ndombele coming towards the ball, then you had on this side Gundogan pressing, and then you had Rodri coming inside and covering this midfield space, almost being like a free player. And then sometimes Bernardo Silva came inside here, or sometimes he stayed out. And the idea was to try and win the ball in this area. So either they would play it here, and they would be able to win it, or maybe it was forced back here, and then Alderweireld has to force a forward pass. Sometimes if the ball was played across, let's say back to Lloris, then it was like De Bruyne who was responsible for winning the ball. So they were trying to basically pin them in one side of the field and make it hard for them to play on the other side. Obviously, you had the back four getting tight to their players as well in the right situation, you know.
Yeah, but what's happening when the ball is basically it was playing like this? This is what Tottenham was trying to do in the second period. Yeah.
Yeah. Just move it across.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Tottenham were trying to, let's say, this is Eriksen on the left-hand side. You had Rose, who wasn't very high, Winks and Ndombele. Let's say it was Lamela at the beginning. So they thought that their solution would be when the ball is here with Sanchez, that they would just play here to Rose, who was being pressed by Bernardo Silva. They would try and play it down the line towards Eriksen, and because normally it was Eriksen who was coming deep, and then they would try to find this pass inside to Winks or Ndombele, depending on whose side it was. But it's not easy, because when you receive this ball with the back to goal, it's not always easy to find that pass inside, and it was especially difficult when you then had Bernardo Silva, Aguero, let's say De Bruyne, and also Aguero coming in this side to just make it very tight in here, and then it's hard to find your way out to the other side. Now you also had these players narrowing in here. You also have like Walker putting pressure on Eriksen when he's receiving that ball. You know, so to find that pass, and then he's surrounded by De Bruyne and Aguero, it's not easy. So they tried to find their way out on this side, but normally what happened was, let's say if it was Sanchez or Rose, ended up having to play inside, and then it was usually, you know, intercepted either by Rodri, who was here, who was maybe following also inside, or let's say it was Gundogan, who was able to cover the space and win the second ball in here, or maybe even Otamendi, who was able to win the ball here in front of Lamela or Kane. So, yeah.
Okay. In the halftime, I predicted like that City is gonna win heavy, and this didn't happen. So and you expected that Tottenham will come back to the game, but they gonna like lose also. So what do you make of the performance of a player like Lucas Moura?
Yeah, I think he did well when he came on, and I think I didn't realize he was so good in the air. I thought it was the headed goal that he scored from a corner was good, and we said that at half time Tottenham might have chances from set pieces, and yeah, when he came onto when Tottenham changed it, basically Winks went off, and it was Sissoko and Ndombele as the two sixes, and then you had Moura to the right. You had initially Lamela to the right, Eriksen to the left, and Moura as sort of almost three offensive midfielders with Kane as a striker, and then he at one point moved Moura to the right hand side, and no, I thought he caused some problems. I remember one action where he sort of ended up getting past Zinchenko and causing some problems. So it was a good change, you know. It was a good decision to change the shape a little bit and bring on Moura. He made a good impact, you know. But I thought there were some good performances all around from Tottenham. I thought Winks did really well in the first half, helped them keep the ball, was brave to stay on the ball under pressure. I thought Lloris made some very good saves as well. Yeah, so I thought those guys were good. Who did you think did well for City?
What?
For City, who did you think did well?
I think Sterling has been amazing. Sterling has developed a lot to be like a beast, you know. Like his interceptions are very good. His tackles, he's winning the ball back very often now. He's also finishing, has developed a lot. And I was telling you during the game that it's like if it wasn't for Guardiola, we will find Sterling like the new Theo Walcott,
yeah, I think that's right. He's come on so much, has developed so well under Pep in the last few years. I thought the header was great that he scored, and what really impressed me about Sterling today is how many times he regained the ball. His pressing was so good. He ended up nicking the ball from Walker Peters, often down the right hand side, especially like when they were counter pressing after immediately having lost the ball. And yeah, he made some really important regains and helped them to keep the ball in the Tottenham half. And yeah, even in the first sort of opening minutes, first 15 minutes, he got in behind quite a few times. That first action where he just changed a pace to beat Walker Peters and almost got a cross in. I think he was great in a real threat. And but interestingly, actually City ended up probably creating the goals and the chances from the right hand side instead of Sterling's left.
Yeah, let's talk a bit about how City has been trying to approach the attacking. Um, okay, so here we see it's like Laporte, Otamendi, Walker, Sinchenko, Rodri, De Bruyne, Gundogan, and Sterling, and Aguero, and here Bernardo. And what is always for Guardiola is very important that he has these two players at the very very end of the pitch, these two players, and the other thing is like his main issue is like how he can make this player out of the game, and he often use two tactics for this. Either bring another the left fullback as another six, so he can open this pass to Sterling, and he have here 1v1 on the ball. Or the other thing is how he can approach this guy. This is when the opposition play with two strikers. When the opposition play with three strikers, so Guardiola tend to have like four players at the back. So those four players are against three here, so 4 against 3 for the counters. And here this is a job of basically someone like today it was Gundogan, but always had been David Silva, just to make sure that he's behind this guy, so he bring him here. The other thing is like Gundogan has been always on this guy, so when the ball comes that he frees here Sterling, and then he make this deep run. He come here to cover. When the ball comes, he play back. He probably play here. He runs. He play back, and they play here the cross. This happened from the other side. From this side, when Kevin De Bruyne run like this, and he make like here like cross to Aguero that he scored from. The other one when Bernardo went there, he played back to De Bruyne, and then he played here to Sterling, who scored the first goal. I'm trying. Okay, so now we have City who lost 2 points, and Spurs who probably won a point. Concerning the situation at the moment, the players they have, and the opposition in the league, and so on. So what do you think how this is going to develop in the future with the Premier League? I know it's like too early. How do you expect it's going to develop? And outside, like I know that you have very good expectations, but just this is outside that United going to win the league.
Yeah, I mean I certainly don't think United are going to win the league. But no, I think obviously City are going to be strong again this year, and I think they had a lot of chances today, and will be quite disappointed that they didn't come away with the win. But I think they're definitely favourites, and I think Tottenham as well look strong. I think they did really well last week. They played really well, and even though they were behind in the first half, they was like in control of the game, dominated the ball pretty much for the whole game, and deserved to win. So I think they've got a good team, and they brought in a couple more players this year, which they weren't able to do in the last few years, building the stadium and everything. I think the players should be able to make a difference. I think Ndombele looks like he's going to make a difference. Sort of exactly the sort of profile that Pochettino likes in the centre midfield. Someone very physical, but also good on the ball, athletic. Obviously going to be good in set pieces, but has technical qualities to also create something and pick a pass. He can also twist and turn on the ball under pressure. So I think, and also they've signed Sessegnon, which gives them another option from Fulham. I think it's
I
very good.
forgot
young
about
player.
this one.
Yeah.
Why he didn't bring this guy to the game? Like they needed speed.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Sessegnon is fit or whether he's just not picked him yet. Whether he wants to give them more time, but I mean, he did say, Pochettino said at the beginning of the season that these are young players and they're going to need some time. So he's not always likely to be someone who just throws in players. Even when he signed Moura at the beginning, he didn't play him from the start. He sort of tried to work with him, developed him, and same with Winks, and these players have developed a lot. But I think Sessegnon's in the right place. I think he's going to develop into a good player, and I'm sure he'll make a difference to Spurs. But they also ended up bringing on the other Spanish player that they signed. What was it? I think the Argentinian player, was it?
Leseo.
Yeah.
Leseo.
Who was playing in Spain. So yeah, I think they're going to have a good chance of competing to definitely be in the top four, and then they're going to need a very strong season to get into the top two.
Yeah, now I want to go to something very quick outside this game, which is concerning Liverpool today played against Norwich City, and as you are just as we are Egyptians, we are a bit a lot of people love Salah and they are very behind him, and other things he stopped being that good player that he was this season, and that you are someone who is how I say you don't take one side, someone neutral on this topic. So so what do you make of Salah?
Yeah, I don't think I'm neutral towards Salah. I think he's an amazing player, to be honest. I saw him in the game against Norwich last week, and he looked like a real threat. And he probably was responsible for most of the chances last week against Norwich. He ended up shooting towards the near post a few times or shooting wide. And I think even in midweek against Chelsea, he was a real threat. So he's a top player, regardless of what happens in terms of how many goals he scores or how much he's in the headlines. He's an amazing player.
So what his best qualities and what he need to work on?
Wow. His best qualities, I think, is his speed and his dribbling qualities. He's very good still in 1v1 situations, and I've also seen Liverpool are trying to get him a bit more free and having a bit more time and space on the ball, because now Henderson's role has changed a little bit, where he's trying to run between the fullback and the centre back, so that when the ball comes to Salah, he's a bit more free, just in case the fullback has to follow Henderson's run. I think his finishing is generally good as well. He's very calm and composed in the box. Even when he's 1v1 with the goalkeeper, you think he's going to score. He's just very calm and relaxed. Inside the box, and his pressing is also very good. He's good at narrowing the passing lane when he goes to press the centre back and splitting that, cutting off that pass between the left side of centre back and the left full back. He's good at stopping this pass, and I think he's got so many qualities. I don't know what he needs to work on, to be honest. But I don't know. What do you think?
I think he's our best players. Maybe the best Egyptian player in the history, in our history at least. Some people will argue about what he did. He won the Champions League. Come on, man. I think also I was lately doing some scouting work in the Premier League, and I've been seeing how good he is at just how strong his body. Just to have someone in his back, and then he stops him and receive with his back. He's really strong. Most of the throw-ins for Liverpool from this side is played just to make free space, that the ball come in front of Salah, that he just put someone in his back and he's turning with him, and also you feel he's not stable. It's he's gonna fall from you, and all of a sudden you find him running. So everyone, we thank you for this. I will try to meet Rupesh on Monday to watch United with him, and we're gonna try to be live every time we're together. So Ciao.